The grueling emotional journey of a privileged white boy who meets a hideously deformed artist and realizes he's not oppressed, he's just starving for affection.
Hi, my name's Katrina.
And my name is Hugh.
I'm Sarah. I'm Emma.
And I'm close to having a mental breakdown. Hey, hi, hello, oi, I'm Eric, and this is Stutterbox, the show where I talk about movies while trying not to stutter. Today, we're talking about She's All That. What is she? God knows. Released in 1999, She's All That follows Zach, the most popular guy in school, who, after getting dumped by his also popular girlfriend, bets he can turn any other random girl into prom queen. The girl in question is Lainey Boggs, an artist who wears her hair in a ponytail, has glasses, and wears overalls. She's not like all the other girls. She's different. She's a pick-me from the 90s. Facing the biggest challenge of his life, will Zach be able to turn the immensely unappealing Lainey into a beautiful girl worthy of the title prom queen? Or will he have his heart stolen and learn lessons along the way that will change his outlook on life? So I was listening to Kiss Me by Sixpence None the Richer the other day, and I remembered that it became famous because of this movie specifically. I had never actually seen it from beginning to end, and dear God, what was happening with romantic comedies back then? I also remembered that it was parodied in Not Another Teen Movie, and it was surprisingly a lot more interesting than this piece of garbage. It has all the qualities of a 90s rom-com, a cast stacked with A-listers, and a boring story with mass appeal and nothing to say. And boy was this cast stacked. You had Freddie Prinze Jr., the late Paul Walker, Matthew Lillard, Anna Paquin, Kieran Culkin, even Lil' Kim was in this movie. She played the sidekick friend with 4 to 5 lines shoehorned into this non-developing plot that wasn't really happening anyway.
No, why?
And I loved every single minute of it. The acting is very 90s, the writing is doing the bare minimum, and the heavy lifting of the movie really is done by the sense of nostalgia that prompts people like me to rewatch it and go, wait a minute, is that Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Why, yes, it is. Sarah Michelle Gellar in the background of a movie starring her future husband. But the movie's premise falls apart quite quickly because it hinges on this girl being so incredibly hideous that she is the biggest challenge when it comes to turning someone into a prom queen, which is, quite frankly, ludicrous. Fun fact, Ludacris is not in this movie. You know who is? Usher. And unlike The Faculty, he says more than 4 words. So what was it about this movie that made it such a big deal? Maybe it was my warped sense of reality growing up that made me think this was actually a huge hit when people actually saw it for what it was, trash. But no, it was actually one of the biggest rom-coms of the 90s and early 2000s. And it left me wondering, have we learned nothing? Have we not grown tired of these high school movies where popularity and clicks drive the storyline, leaving to the side actual character development or a narrative that is worth watching? No. This movie was so popular, Netflix decided to remake it in 2021. He's All That, a gender swap retelling of exactly the same story, and unsurprisingly, it was a lot worse than the original because it lacked a certain quality, unintentional comedy. That's right, I actually laughed a few times throughout this movie, despite it being incredibly boring and having a nonsensical plot. But I didn't laugh for the right reasons. It wasn't because they were making a joke. It was just because the movie felt like a joke. And this is the type of quality that I feel only works in hindsight. You know, once the movie's been out for many, many years and people just move on with their lives. Decades pass until you go back, rewatch it, and think to yourself, wow, can't believe this shit was popular. Spoiler alert, even though it's been 25 years, but we're going to talk about key details of the plot. So if you don't want to be spoiled, my God, like, you know, it's been a while. You've had the time. Go watch it quickly and then come back and we'll wait around for you. So yeah, make yourself a drink, grab a snack, sit back, relax, and enjoy the melodic, calm, soothing sound of my voice. So without further ado, this is She's All That. So we meet our protagonists, the hideously unattractive and unappealing Lainey Boggs. She lives with her dad and her brother.
Simon Boggs, there are children in Mexico who have already been up for 3 hours making clothes for corporate America. That's it, I'm spitting in your juice.
She's a very likable girl. We also meet Zach, the most popular boy in this high school, so popular that there's a picture of him in the hallway, and people just randomly say hello to him because he's like a celebrity. We quickly get a sense of how much of a loser Lainey actually is when she's in art class and Clea Duvall, of all people, the queer icon herself, starts bullying her. Not to shit on Lainey any further, but my god, you're an artist and you're getting bullied by other artists. That's like the lowest social status you could possibly have. But it's not just any kind of bullying. These two girls walk up to her and they're like, all the great artists that we remember nowadays only became famous after their death. You should really kill yourself. Did I laugh? Yes. Should I have laughed? No. Was it funny? I'll let you decide. Zach, on the other hand, finds out that his popular girlfriend, Taylor Vaughn, the shoo-in for prom queen that year, has actually cheated on him over spring break with a guy called Brock, played by Matthew Lillard. He's a reality TV star in the real world LA. They just couldn't keep their hands off each other. They fell in love. They got matching tattoos. What a stud, right? Zach, heartbroken, clearly, decides the best way to handle this tragically devastating situation is to turn a random girl into the new Taylor Vaughn, because according to him, Taylor is nothing without him. That girl owes everything she is and has to Zach. That's right, guys. In this movie, women aren't women. Women are tools at men's disposal to further advance their storylines. Zach's friend Dean, played by the late Paul Walker, who looks so fine in this movie, by the way, tells him that there's no way he could create another Taylor, because Taylor is an institution in this high school. Are y'all okay? Do y'all need to talk? Why are we idolizing random kids in high school? So how are these two boys going to settle this disagreement? They could agree to disagree, but no, they have a better idea. They decide to make a very misogynistic bet. The rules are simple. Dean is going to select a random girl from this entire high school, and Zach will then have 6 weeks to turn her into prom queen. Why are we doing this? I don't know. Zach doesn't even like his girlfriend. He's not even sad. He's more annoyed that he's potentially going to lose his social status because he's not dating the most popular girl in school anymore. The entire point of this bet is for Zach to prove to himself that his girlfriend, who dumped him, would be nothing without him. That's right. This is all about his hurt ego. But I guess we had to have a plot to turn him from villain to hero. You start the movie despising his actions, but then you realize along the way that he's actually a nice guy. He's got problems of his own and he's trying to deal with them. And it's in meeting this girl, Lainey Boggs, getting to know her, and ultimately himself, that he'll realize he needs to change his ways, because his old ways were the wrong ways. So they go around the school and they make several disparaging remarks about a bunch of girls, because that's what boys do. Boys will be boys. But then Dean sees Lainey Boggs dropping books on the floor and thinks to himself, yup, that's the one Zach will never turn into a presentable human being. Because look at her. Like, bleh. Go fix yourself, Lainey. Do you not understand that we have standards in this high school? What gives you the right to have a personality and tastes of your own? Who told you were allowed to dress however you want? Selfish bitch. Zach is pressed because according to him,
Look, fat I can handle. Weird boobs, bad personality, maybe some sort of fungus. Scary and inaccessible is another story.
we also learn that Zach is going through this very strong internal turmoil with himself. This is actually going to be hard to say because I cried. So Zach has unfortunately been accepted to several Ivy League universities, including Dartmouth, Yale, and Harvard, and he doesn't know which one to choose. And he feels like his dad has been pressuring him, grooming him, dare I say, to go to Dartmouth, to follow in his footsteps. But Zach doesn't want to do that. What if Zach doesn't want to go to Dartmouth? He doesn't not want to go, but what if he doesn't? And what if he does? What are his parents going to say when they realize that Zach went to Harvard instead of Dartmouth? I'm sorry, I just need a minute. Y'all, this is stupid. This internal struggle had me shaking to my core. Could you imagine being white, rich, privileged, accepted into all the major universities of your country, no problem paying tuition, no problem getting girlfriends, no problem with friends. Could you imagine not having any problem at all? It truly is heartbreaking, and I'm glad that they decided to tell this story, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out there struggling with their own problems who can look at Zach and think, wow, wouldn't want to be him, wouldn't want to have his problems. Lainey, on the other hand, has it sweet. She lost her mom to cancer when she was really young, and then she had to grow up really fast and help her dad and her brother around the house because they had no more mom to take care of them. But going back to Zach and his problems about being so intelligent and rich and privileged, Zach thought that conquering Lainey would be as easy as just walking up to her and saying hello. But that didn't go well. So he speaks to his sister Mackenzie, played by a very young Anna Paquin, who gives him actually pretty solid advice. Have you ever considered making an effort? Finding out what she likes to do, where she likes to hang out. And I guess to Zach, who's never had to lift a finger in his entire life, bet he doesn't even wipe his own ass, this had never occurred to him. It had never occurred to Zach that shared interests and a little bit of effort would go a long way. But Zach is learning and he's growing, and he decides to visit Lainey at her job.
Don't you have a break coming up?
Moments.
Miss?
Is it inappropriate? Absolutely. I guess she doesn't need this job anyway, Zachy. So she quickly shoots him down and tells him, I don't want to tutor you. I'm not interested. I'm not even that smart. And he's like, no, I have a better GPA than you. No, I want you to help me with my art because I'm also an artiste. Unfortunately for Lainey, luckily for Zach, Lainey's friend, who she's helping to lose weight in a very abrasive manner,
What happened to dropping 10 pounds before graduation?
I'm looking into
Jesse,
it.
do not eat that.
gifts Zach his ticket to Lainey's art show that night. And boy, do we need to talk about this art show. It was everything and then some more. I don't know if you've ever gone to one of these independent performance art shows where performances are so underground and alternative. They're stupid. They're stupid. It's just super pretentious, and if you don't get it, then it's not for you. Off. The room is filled with artists, and on stage, a performance is unfolding. Zach is in the audience looking really confused, and girl, me too. There's a guy under a silver sheet meant to represent the uterus, the womb. Then two other performers emerge, and they start just saying random sentences in the middle of the stage and then running around. And then Zach is about to clap because he thinks the shit show is over, but nope. In comes Lainey in whiteface, inappropriate, holding a white sheet, and she wraps herself like Mother Teresa and starts chanting, "Be silent, be still." I think I was a little bit high when I was watching it, and I thought I was on an acid trip. They hold each other together and keep chanting, "Be silent, be still," over and over and over again. And then everyone just claps for that, whatever that was. This audience loves underground art, underground, alternative, disruptive, against the system, that if you don't get it, then you're just an uncultured swine. How does it feel to be an uncultured swine? I'll say it feels pretty great. And then my favorite, they call Zach on stage because Lainey, I guess, told them there's a new person here. Let's humiliate him in front of everyone. And so he's like dared to do a performance, and he pulls this beanbag out of his pocket, and then he just starts bouncing it on his feet. And then he starts saying, "Can't let it drop, never let it drop. Everyone's watching. Everyone's counting on you. Don't drop it, never drop it." And he just keeps bouncing this beanbag on his feet. And then everyone's like really intrigued and fascinated, mesmerized, watching this cis-het white dude on stage doing art. And he just continues chanting, and everyone's expectant, looking at him. And as the music builds, the tension is palpable. You can't let it drop. And then he drops it. And then he says, "Sooner or later, it has to drop." And everyone claps like this is God's gift to performance art. Get it? The beanbag is a metaphor for the pressure Zach is under. He can't fumble. He can't fail, because if he fails, he'll let everybody know that he's human, and he doesn't want to be a scummy human. Ugh. So after the performance, he goes a little bit too far with Lainey and is like, "Have you ever considered contacts? You have beautiful eyes." First of all, you can see her eyes just fine through the glasses. But also, what is this running theme in the movie that if you wear glasses, you're automatically ugly? Lainey sees right through the bullshit and blows him off. But Zach never gives up, so he visits Lainey at her house, he corners her there basically, and invites her to the beach. She respectfully declines, so he tells her that if she doesn't go to the beach with him, he's going to spend the rest of the afternoon playing video games with her brother. So he's basically forcing her hand, either you spend time with me at the beach or in your own house. Either way, I'm not leaving. So Lainey eventually goes to the beach with him, where soon after, all of his friends meet up with them, all of the friends that don't like her, that have bullied her. Must be fun for her, but Zach has no consideration because he's winning that bet, baby. Then after the beach, she gets invited to a house party, and she tells Zach she can't go because she has to clean the house. So what does Zach do? Romance incarnate. Zach takes a bunch of kids that he coaches for a team of whatever and forces the kids to clean her house. But going to the party with him is not enough. He also drags his sister there so she can give Lainey a makeover. What the hell? So Zach's sister, the miracle worker that she is, removes Lainey's glasses and cuts her hair short. And we have magic. Lainey emerges from the top of the stairs to the sound of Kiss Me by Sixpence, None the Richer, reaches the bottom of the stairs and trips, nearly falls. Remember, she's pretty now, but 5 minutes ago, she was f***ing disgusting. She's not just going to be a functional human being because you put a dress on her. She's still going to embarrass herself at every opportunity, and people are going to see right through the bullshit. That is Lainey Boggs loser, not Lainey Boggs hot. And at the party, Taylor confronts Lainey because she's tired of seeing her ex-boyfriend hang out with a new girl. She tells her awful things, like she doesn't matter to anyone, no one even knows she exists. And Lainey had a good opportunity to stand up for herself and put that bitch in her place, but instead she storms off crying. I get it. I get the reaction. It's a shame. And then Zach follows her outside, and there's this really pathetic attempt at making them emotionally connect. She's like, I promised myself I'd never let them see me cry. And he's like, well, when you have someone new in your life, you invite the good with the bad. Like, I'm sorry, but if all of your friends are her bullies, then maybe you are the problem. Maybe there is no good. Zach, maybe everything is bad. Maybe you should reevaluate your life choices. Maybe you should get a new group of friends. Maybe you should stop your ex-girlfriend from bullying your date. How about that? And this brings me to an important point of romanticizing toxic relationships. Now, throughout the movie, Lainey has told Zach no. Repeatedly. She told him no the first time he spoke to her. She told him no when he went to her work. She told him no after the performance. She told him no after the beach. And what has he done every single time? He's come back more insistent to go out with him, to hear him out, to hang out with him, to be his friend, to this, to that. You see these two leads and you know they're going to end up together, but you got to overcome this barrier between them that separates the nerd from the cool guy. But to get there, one of them has to basically be a stalker with no respect for other people's boundaries, and the other one just has to be pursued relentlessly until eventually she says yes and they fall in love and end up together. And you may think that I'm reading too much into it. It's not that serious. It's just a rom-com from the 90s. You're wrong. It's not just this rom-com. It's all rom-coms. It's movies and series. They're constantly doing this. They're constantly romanticizing these toxic behaviors. And they're basically normalizing men pursuing women despite them not being interested. And also normalizing women saying yes to men after they've insistently asked you out, even though you've said no several times. Because if he's still pursuing you after the third, fourth, fifth try, whatever, then he really likes you and you should give him a chance. And this is basically telling women that they should settle for a man that gives them attention. First of all, women aren't asking for attention. She didn't ask for attention. She didn't even want to talk to him. And it's up because guess what? In real life, it doesn't take 3 to 4 to 5 times for them to eventually get out. Sometimes women say no once and end up dead. And that's what we're normalizing with these movies. We're basically telling women, yes, let him pursue you. Let him disrespect every single boundary you try to set for yourself. Let him wear you down. Let him tire you out. And when you have no choice, when you're literally cornered like Lainey was, she was cornered by her own friend who gives Zach a ticket so Zach can go see Lainey. She's cornered by Zach, who shows up at her house and won't take no for an answer. She's then cornered by Zach and the football team, so she has to go with him to the party. She's All That should be retitled to She's constantly being pressured to do things she doesn't want to do until eventually she gives up and does those things. After the party, Lainey gets nominated to be prom queen by Gabrielle Union, the MVP of this movie, and it's pretty boring from then onwards, really. Zach and Lainey have a moment where they talk about their internal conflicts, and they almost kiss until Lainey cracks a joke about prom, and he realizes that he actually likes her. He's been a shit person. He feels remorse, and he leaves without kissing her. That makes Lainey feel insecure about herself, even more so than she was at the beginning of the movie. My God, they're trying to break this girl down. And then Dean takes an interest in Lainey because to men, if I don't have it, I must have it. If someone is playing with it, then I must play with it as well. Because men see women as toys, not as people. This movie sees women as toys, not as people, but okay. Zach's dad finds his acceptance letters and freaks out because the acceptance deadlines have lapsed for a few of them. And Zach finally tells him how he's been feeling. He feels like his dad has been pressuring him his entire life to go to Dartmouth and follow in his footsteps. And his dad apologizes and tells him that it was never his intention, but at some point he will have to make a decision, and he can't just keep using his dad as an excuse to not make a decision. Drag that twink. And then Lainey's dad decides to be a parent and tells her that she needs to live her life as a teenager. She's spent way too much time taking care of the family. She needs to focus on herself. Finally, someone said it. And they go to prom, and what would be a 90s prom without a highly choreographed dance sequence full of professional dancers posing as high school students? What starts off as a plot device to kind of confuse characters, where are they, where aren't they, then just turns into an opportunity to showcase each individual character doing a dance move, I guess. Oh, and there's Usher in the DJ booth doing Usher things. Hey. Lainey's art teacher tells her she's incredibly gifted. She's seen her last painting. Whatever has prompted this emotional release, keep it going. This is the best your work has ever looked. There's also a random blow-up doll at prom, and Lil' Kim has another line.
Damn, Rick!
In the end, Lainey doesn't win prom queen. Thank God. She really didn't deserve it. As much as you want to hate Taylor, she spent the entire year campaigning to get that plastic crown. But Zach does get prom king because I guess people are blind and they can't see that Paul Walker is right there looking like a snack. Taylor also got dumped by Brock because he got tired of her, I guess. That was a side plot that didn't really go anywhere. Lainey's friend overhears Dean talking about how he's going to take Lainey to a hotel room and deflower her. So he rushes to tell Zach, and Zach immediately leaves the prom to try and find Lainey. He eventually drives to her house and finds her there. She didn't sleep with Dean. Dean tried, but she blew a horn very close to his ears, potentially causing injury, and left. Good for you, Lainey. I wish you would do that to Zach, because he's a pig as well, but whatever, he's the protagonist. The movie is telling us that Zach is now a good person. Zach has been reformed. By what? Who knows? He just is, because the movie's told you. You just gotta believe it and shut up. So Zach and Lainey make up, and they have their first dance in her backyard. Zach lost the bet, so he has to go to graduation fully naked. Okay. The punishment is to have this 18-year-old butt naked in front of all these kids. Gotta love the 90s. Yeah. He's holding a football in front of his crotch to cover his dick and balls. And then he gets to the stage, obviously off screen, and he throws the ball to Lainey, and she catches it and holds on to it for dear life. The ball that was just in his unwashed junk. Yeah, I find it wild how these romantic comedies in the 90s really were just misogyny in disguise, using women as props and plot devices, not as characters. But my favorite is Zach's conflict that he's too privileged for his own good. And if you're still watching, first of all, thank you. Second of all, would you like me to talk about He's All That? Because that one is so much worse than this one. And also, let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this movie. Do you genuinely see it as a classic, or do you see it as garbage? And I think that's it for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this video, don't forget to leave it a like down below, subscribe to my channel, and share with your friends. Spread the love all around. Until next time, stay safe, stay sane, stay stupid, stay stuttering. Bye, guys.